This is polynomial operations. So we're going to be adding, subtracting, and multiplying polynomials by using the distributive property and combining like terms. So with a general polynomial, we want it in order, so standard form. So that means n must be a whole number. So degree is the highest exponent of the leading term. Or the exponent of the leading term. I guess highest exponent or exponent of your leading term. All right, leading coefficient, that is the number in front of variable of leading term. So your leading term has the highest exponent, and then that number in front of it is your leading coefficient. Constant is a number without a variable. And then standard form is highest exponent to lowest exponent, or constant. That's your x to the 0 term. So for example, if we had 3x to the third plus 2x squared minus 3x plus 5. So notice it goes in order of exponents, so 3, 2, 1, and then no exponents. All right, classification of polynomials. So you have 0, constant, linear, quadratic, and cubic. So when you have f of x equal to 0, that means you have no degree or degree of none. When it's a constant by itself, it's a degree of 0. Linear has a degree of 1. Quadratic has a degree of 2. So notice we're looking at those exponents there. And cubic has a degree of 3. Adding and subtracting means we're combining like terms. So you can use a horizontal or vertical method to do this. So horizontal, you group together your like terms, then add and subtract. Vertical method, you stack the polynomials, and then you add them like you would normally add your numbers together. So those are two different examples. You can look at those. You can pause and work through them just to make sure that those answers are correct if you'd like. Okay, let's move on to example 1. So example 1, we want to add like terms together. So we want to drop our parentheses. Notice it's a plus in the middle, so we won't be changing any signs. So you're just going to write it without the parentheses. All right, and then starting with our highest terms, we want to start combining those together. So looking at our exponents to that third power is our highest term. So we have 2 plus 1, so that makes 3x to the third. So we use those. So next would be x squared. So our x squared terms. So we have a negative 3 plus 2, so that makes a negative 1x squared. And then x's by themselves. So 4 minus 5x, or 4x minus 5x, that's a negative 1x. And then negative 1 plus 3 is left over. So that makes a positive 2. All right, it's already in standard form because we started with that highest term. But let's rewrite it without our ones in there. So it's correct standard form. And that would be it. So I always like to line it up, circle the ones that I've used, and then cross them off so I know I've used every term in the whole problem. All right, the second example, so this is subtraction. So remember with subtraction, we're going to apply that subtraction sign to all of our terms. So that means it's going to change the sign of every term after the parenthesis. So negative 2x to the third minus x squared plus x minus 2. So notice it changes those signs here. So that first one, since there's not a negative out front, we just dropped the parentheses. So 4x squared plus 3x minus 4. Ran out of room there. Okay, so now we look for our highest exponent. Well, we start with an x squared, but if you look down here, we have an x to the third. So negative 2x to the third will be our leading term. And there's no other x to the third, so we just write it by itself. Next, we move on to our x squareds. So 4 minus 1x squared, we get positive 3x squared. Moving on to our x's by themselves, we have a 3x and an x. So 3 plus 1 makes 4x. And then our constant terms by themselves, we have a negative 4 and a negative 2. So making that a negative 6. So you're trying to find your terms in order and then combining them with any other terms that they have in common with other stuff. Okay. Next, we're multiplying. So we're going to distribute. So there's two ways you can do this. You can do distributing or the box method. So distributing, you're going to multiply everything by that first term. So multiplying by 4x. So 4x times 3x squared times negative 5x times the 1. And then you do it to the 2. So negative 2 times all three of those. And then you add those two together. All right, and the next example. Oh, so then you add those together. And then the box method is that you set it up in the box and then you're multiplying. So 4 times 3 is 12, x times x squared is x to the third. And then you repeat to complete the box. Then you'll add your like terms together, and that's how you get those middle numbers. So let's go ahead and try. I usually like the box method just because it keeps things organized. Maybe. There we go. It did not like my pen strokes. Okay. So you have 5x minus 7, and this usually, and it will help with factoring if you do the box method. And it deleted what I put in there. Plus 9. So 2 times 5 is 10. X times x is x squared. 2x times negative 7 is negative 14x. 9 times 5 is 45. And then 9 times negative 7 is negative 63. So then we combine like terms. So 45 minus 14 is going to be a positive 31x minus 63. right, the next one. So it's going to be a 2 by 3, and you can set it up either way, where the 3 is on one side and the 2 is on the other. It just depends on how you like to set things up. I usually do like the first one on this side, or that one. I did that one on top. So it just depends on how you want to set it up. All right, so go ahead and do that multiplication and pause and come back and check your answer. Okay, so you should have gotten 12x to the third plus 4x squared minus 31x minus 15. So make sure you are combining those like terms when you are done multiplying. All right, let's go ahead and set up the example 5. So this time it's a 3 by 3. Let's see, pen needs to work. Oh, there we go. So we have 2x squared plus 4x minus 3. See, the first one I put it on top this time. So it just depends on when you start writing where you're going to put your numbers. All right, go ahead and pause and fill out the box, and then go ahead and combine like terms. All right, you should have gotten 12x to the fourth plus 18x to the third minus 46x squared minus 23x plus 24. Make sure when you're multiplying two negatives together, you get a positive, so that negative 3x times a negative 3 made that a positive 9x. So just be careful when you have those two negatives together. All right, and then just remember polynomials are closed under addition, subtraction, and multiplication. So when you add, subtract, or multiply polynomials, the answer is still a polynomial. All right, go ahead and work on your assignment and let me know if you have any questions.